Thursday, January 25th. Welcome back to the Damon Bruce Show. And look, it's not going to be a big topic on the show today. I know that there's a lot of stress about is Debo going to play or not. The shoulder, I've been asked about it. Look, folks, he's playing. There's no way you reach this point in the year, and unless you're in the hospital, you're playing. The player plays. I really believe that. I think that Debo's the kind of guy who's going to get out there. So, if he doesn't, I'll be really surprised. And this is a worse shoulder injury than they're letting on in some point, and they're just trying to mask it. So the Lions got to prepare for him. But if he can in any way possible play, he's going to play. We got a main topic for you today. That main topic is Christian McCaffrey, a few other things to jump into. I've got what's going to be a busy afternoon with some interviews lined up. I got a few errands that I got to run. So we're not going to waste any of your time today. We're going to hop right in, and our main topic is Christian McCaffrey, because McCaffrey was named the Offensive Player of the Year by the Pro Football Writers Association, and that's not the big one. The one that's given away during NFL Honors Week is the AP award. So we'll find out, if he wins the mother of all Offensive Player of the Year awards. It feels like the Offensive Player of the Year award is now the most likely to be what the best way to call it would be the runner-up to MVP, right? The MVP has now basically become a contest between quarterbacks, and the Offensive Player of the Year is essentially the runner-up, first runner-up non-quarterback. Might have been MVP if that award still went to guys other than quarterbacks, and it should. It really should. And if it were the type of award that went to players other than quarterbacks, as the world doesn't want to give it to Brock Purdy, whatever. I'm not going to get in that argument again, as we are maybe, I don't want to say relaxing standards, but making sure that Lamar fits into this MVP conversation just because of his dominance as a football player more than any sort of statistical mastery of the year. Maybe it would have been a year where Christian McCaffrey could have been named MVP if they were still giving those things out to running backs, but they aren't. So it looks like Offensive Player of the Year, certainly from the Pro Football Writers Association, is his. It'll probably be that way for the AP. He is the consensus number one All-Pro at his position, and why not? He was the NFL's rushing yard leader this year at 1,459 yards. He won the scrimmage yards triple crown. Number one in touches, number one in touchdowns, and of course, number one in yards. Unanimous AP first team All-Pro, which makes you think, yeah, he's going to win the AP Offensive Player of the Year as well. The only other Niners player to ever be named Offensive Player of the Year, it happened twice before, but only to one guy. Steve Young was named Offensive Player of the Year in 92 and in 94. And again, my curiosity got the best of me, thinking like, oh, well, who won the MVP in 92 and 94? In 92, it was Steve Young. And in 94, it was Steve Young. You see, football writers used to behave differently than they do now. They would give the Offensive Player of the Year award also to a quarterback who won MVP, and they kind of walked hand in hand to the point where I think they said, well, it's sort of redundant at this point. Maybe we need to split it up a little. Anyway, the real difference in how football writers used to vote and now vote was right around Steve Young's MVPs. You had a whole bunch of running backs. Like the year before Steve Young won his first MVP in 92, the MVP of the NFL was Thurman Thomas. The year after, or the year in between 92 and 94 Steve Young MVP seasons, was Emmitt Smith. Barry Sanders in 97 split the vote with Brett Favre. And by the way, splitting votes, corny. Terrell Davis in 98 was your NFL MVP. So they used to give these things to guys other than quarterbacks, but that really doesn't happen anymore. But we're not here to look back at voting history. We're here to talk about Christian McCaffrey. And I'm declaring today, well, welcome everyone. Cheers to you. Hit like, hit subscribe, all those good things. I'm just telling you, it's a sip of the day right there. I timed this coffee for the early portion of the show to be right on, and I nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Was steeping. The coffee was becoming the coffee that it is right now at about 10:30. You get about a few minutes down the road in the very insulated thermos. The temperature comes up, and we all know how it works. That's a great cup of coffee right there. It's Christian McCaffrey Appreciation Day, as far as I'm concerned. This guy, without exaggeration, without stretching the topic to fit the parameters of this segment, this show, I don't even think it's an exaggeration to say this guy is one of the best football players of our lifetimes. He is all day and all night long special. He can play the position of running back. He can be a slot receiver. If he wanted to just be a wide receiver full time, he could do that, probably at an all-pro level as well. He is a football player first and foremost. Injuries have absolutely stunted some of his career numbers and productions, and thank God it caused a level of concern enough to where Carolina thought, all right, here's an asset that we'll now consider trading because how much left he has, what he can do for us at this point in our franchise's life cycle, it's worth it to move on from Christian McCaffrey. And thank goodness for the 49ers, that's the conclusion reached by the Carolina Panthers. He has been awarded the Pro Football Writers Offensive Player of the Year. He is deserving of that and more. If we're being really honest, like I covered Frank Gore at the height of his era with the 49ers, and I don't remember him affecting games in and out quite like Christian McCaffrey does. Ricky Watters, again, Ricky Watters might have been Christian McCaffrey if football had been played a little bit differently in the era in which he played. Ricky Watters was awesome. But Christian McCaffrey does less with more than Ricky Watters did. He really does. Christian McCaffrey runs to daylight. He can get super skinny. He can get really wide and turn himself into a power back. He's just got all sorts of different styles of running styles. He's spectacular. Now, I wasn't around for Hugh McElhaney or Joe Perry. And with all due respect to our running back forefathers and truly great Hall of Fame players, I'm going to insist right now, and I'm not even opening up the topic for debate, that modern athletes are better than they were in the 50s, early 60s. And so I am holding the era in which those guys played in against them, which is probably unfair, but I'm comfortable doing it because I know enough about human evolution to know that they get bigger, faster, stronger as you go forward. You don't find the greatest of all time in black and white Grady footage. You really don't. You really don't. Christian McCaffrey, let's face it, I think is going to be going to the Hall of Fame one day. Roger Craig, who is the greatest running back, I believe, all time to ever play for the 49ers, is not in the Hall of Fame. I think Christian McCaffrey will get that one leg up on Roger Craig. And if we're being completely honest, there are two games in front of Christian McCaffrey. Can't get to the second one without winning the first one. But the game against the Lions and then a follow-up performance in a Super Bowl, should they be overwhelming, Christian McCaffrey has an opportunity in the next 2 weeks to punch his Hall of Fame ticket. I mean, do you imagine? How about this? Do you even have to stretch your imagination to think Christian McCaffrey, should the 49ers win a Super Bowl, would be a viable MVP candidate? You add an MVP of a Super Bowl and a win, a Lombardi trophy to this resume, it's going to Canton. It's going to Canton. Like, that would fill the hole that some injuries in the middle of his career might have left in terms of gaudy, overwhelming career numbers, but his numbers are still very gaudy indeed. He had stupid numbers leading up to his season, and this season he put up even more stupid numbers. I mean, every single week we were ticking off great football Hall of Fame players' names who he had either equaled or matched in terms of team touchdowns, overall performance, most amount of 2 touchdowns in the air, 2 touchdowns on the ground, not since LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, guys who are in the Hall of Fame. We were basically wrapping up each and every Christian McCaffrey game with a comparison to some Hall of Fame level performance somewhere back in time. The guy's incredible. The only case against him would be what? Hasn't done it enough. He's only played 91 career games. But my God, in those 91 career games, he scored 81 touchdowns with over 10,500 yards from scrimmage. That's obviously rushing and receiving combined. more than anything else, and I apologize if you've heard me go down this thought rabbit hole before. Christian McCaffrey is my NFL version of Kevin Durant. I knew Kevin Durant was a really good basketball player. I even understood that Kevin Durant was on his way to establishing an all-time level of career while he was tucked away in the relative obscurity of Oklahoma City. You know, I didn't watch a lot of Thunder games back then. Depended on who they were playing, depended on how often ESPN or TNT wanted to feature them. And I would absolutely watch because Durant and Westbrook together, like there was a lot to watch there. That was a really good team. And all you had to do was watch about 8 minutes of Thunder basketball before you walked away like, hey, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things isn't the same. I mean, it was overwhelming how easy Kevin Durant just made everything look. And you watched him and you're like, all right, easy money sniper. I get it. This is the smoothest, most effortless 32 points, 8 rebounds you're going to see on the basketball court tonight. And then, you wouldn't see him until the next time the Oklahoma City Thunder were featured. And then you'd have like, oh, is this Durant guy? He's really, really good. It wasn't until you saw Kevin Durant each and every night that you realized like, oh, this motherfucker is one of the single greatest basketball players of all time. And if we just wanted to rank ease of scoring as our biggest metric for who might be the best, like, holy shit. Like, Kevin Durant on an off night is still the best player on this court, not named Steph Curry. Kevin Durant is just, to watch him every game, every night, every shift that he took out on that court was to truly appreciate that man's greatness. And it made me bitterly angry at him when he took his performance somewhere else. Like, Kevin, everything that you got going on right here is awesome. Don't walk away. The grass is not greener. He thought the grass would be greener in Brooklyn. And we haven't really seen Kevin Durant mattering in this league beyond his smooth scoring ability in terms of ultimate winning. He's done none of it. None of it. Well, Christian McCaffrey, being a Carolina Panther, didn't do a lot of ultimate winning because it was just, that's the way the Panthers were. We saw the Christian McCaffrey highlights. We could see just by the highlights, or you could play a game of Madden and, you and your buddy, you chose, okay, so we can't use the teams that we normally use. You got to pick a random team here. All right, I'll take the Carolina Panthers because I know that they got Christian McCaffrey, and McCaffrey can get down in this game of Madden. See, we think alike, don't we? To watch Christian McCaffrey game in, game out is to truly appreciate him. That is the comparison point with Kevin Durant. Like, I knew that they were great, but I didn't understand the level of greatness until you saw it each and every game. And Christian McCaffrey, on the play that doesn't make the highlight reel, on NFL Network, they didn't show you a mid-first quarter 2nd and 7 where this guy picks up 6 yards every single time. Christian McCaffrey went from 2nd and long to 3rd and short, if not picked up the first down, like every single time. It's the plays that you don't see in the highlight package are as impressive as the plays you do see in the highlight package. And that, to me, is just proof positive how special this guy is. Salute to Christian McCaffrey. Next 2 football games for all 49ers are big, big football games. But for a handful of a few guys, it is congratulations. You just automatically punched your ticket to Canton. It's the difference between Trent Williams being a Hall of Famer or a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's the difference in George Kittle being a Hall of Famer or first ballot Hall of Famer. Right? It's absolutely a difference maker in Christian McCaffrey's Hall of Fame arc, I would believe. And then there are other players who will be considered and discussed, and Fred Warner and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of Nick Bosa, there's a lot of guys who their Hall of Fame tracks would be officially laid down for them. And now it would be a matter of, how long can you play? Can you stay healthy? And it's going to happen. So what a huge couple of weeks coming up. Oh my God, I love this time of year. Sunday is the best day of football, really, in the entire calendar year. The AFC and NFC championship games, cannot wait for both. And tomorrow, we will be doing a little more looking into what's going on in the AFC title game. Obviously, we've been concentrating on 49ers and Lions, rightfully so. I know who my audience is, and it's great to have all of you in here. Thank you so much. It's great to see so many regulars. Love you guys and gals. You are the absolute best. Thank you very, very much. People are asking, are we going to get to a Chase Young Appreciation Day? How about this? You get to Jared Goff 2-3 times. I'll be happy to host that show. I'll be happy to host that show for Chase Young. He's got to earn it, though. We don't just hand these things out. Thank you, Giants Niner fan. True Blue Forever. Again, what is the over-under on chair appearances? Well, there it is right there. See, there's your chair right there. I don't think we're going to have any exclusive interviews. Can we get a piss of the day ourselves? Absolutely. Chef A, as far as I'm concerned, most of my audience is watching this just sitting on the toilet right now. I mean, I know how I consume online videos. I'm assuming it's the same for you. It is funny. Go back to yesterday's show. These are things that you don't get, but because I got the YouTube Creator Studio, I can go back and look at the metrics and see when the audience was engaging. And, I got this line that is ticking up and down of chats, people chatting, and then it spikes way up and then comes back down, and you can see exactly in the show where I went to the bathroom and I left it to the chat to host the show. And by the way, you all did a remarkable job. Carl Kelsick is a guy who I love, who used to work with at KNBR. Carl Buszczyk. It's funny, I got a Carl Kelsick and a Buszczyk. Carl does... Buszczyk watches every single show, sends me chapters and highlights and things to point out. He is such a valuable piece of what we do over here on the Plus. And Carl, thank you as always. He was monitoring. He's like, you added a viewer while you were taking a bathroom break. So, maybe more in the future, maybe schedule more of those. I don't know. Unbelievable. Who knew it would be such a hit? I'm wondering if Ike knew for a fact that his sandwiches were going to be a hit instantly. It takes an awful lot of guts to go out on your own and open a shop yourself, whether it be a sports show, whether it be a sandwich shop, whether it be anything. To go into business for yourself is a huge test. And to say that Ike is passing this test with flying colors is a massive understatement. And I want you to find out for yourself. By downloading the Ike's Rewards app, there's two reasons to do that. Number one, it's a great way to find out every single restaurant he has, how close it is to you, whether or not they can deliver to you, your office, catering, you and your family ordering sandwiches. It's great. Plus, you start eating your way towards free sandwiches when you become an Ike's Rewards member. You get rewards points. Now you will get rewards points for every point that the 49ers score in the postseason added directly to your account. So don't wait until Monday to sign up for Ike's Rewards. Do it now. And you will definitely be earning rewards points, unless the 49ers are shut out by the Lions, in which case I guess all of us together are just going to get back here and drink ourselves to death the following day, so we won't need to worry about any rewards points. But, should the 49ers score, every point they score is a rewards point on the Ike's app. The sandwiches are awesome. My man is awesome. You all know this. Get yourself the Ike's Rewards app. Get yourself to mybookie.com and sign up, mybookie.ag, and sign up with the promo code Damon Bruce. That'll get you 50% off the deposit match. And I'll also let you know if your knees, shoulders are barking at you, you got to contact my guy, Dr. Paul Hughes. Dr. Paul let me know yesterday that he has already had more business generated over here on Damon Bruce Plus than he did when he was advertising at KNBR. And if that isn't a message to all advertisers about the way the world is working now, I think that's all you need to know. We produce better results for our partners than KNBR does. There you go. And to say that we produce better than 95.7 The Game is a massive Understatement. Again, they're so bad at selling advertising, they had to let a guy like me and Ray Ratto go. Maybe that's their fault. Maybe it's not. We'll get into this a little bit later on, and you'll just stay with me. We'll get to it. But anyways, Dr. Paul Hughes, orthopedicsurgeries.com. If you want to avoid an orthopedic surgery with a cellular replacement therapy, use code word HUNTER to get 50% off this procedure. That is a big chunk of change. His offices are in San Mateo. Orthopedicsurgeries.com to avoid an orthopedic surgery. Dr. Paul Hughes, who is signed up for post-game and Damon sponsorships, we give him extra love. And again, we just want to, we see you, Uncle Boys, and we'll talk about you tomorrow in our Good for Ball, Bad for Ball segment. Let's see. We don't need to have Chef Amy's "Can we all take a leak" message up during the entire show, but I'm glad it got some run. All right. Welcome back, Jim Harbaugh. Welcome back. The NFL just became more interesting. And you know what? The Los Angeles Chargers just became more dangerous. Jim Harbaugh leaving the Michigan Wolverines in probably a wake of NCAA violations in his rearview mirror, whatever. You got to break a few eggs to make an omelet, and the omelet tasted just like a national championship, so no one's going to give a shit. Harbaugh's back. Harbaugh's back in the NFL. How about that? 60 years old. Jim is coming back for his second bite at the NFL apple, and I bet you with Justin Herbert, he's going to have some success. You got 3 Super Bowl winning coaches in the championship level coaches. Jim Harbaugh didn't win a Super Bowl. Niners fans know, but he did win a college championship. Andy Reid has won a Super Bowl. Sean Payton's won a Super Bowl. They're in the AFC West. What team is coming up in the rear? Oh, it's the Raiders. But I tell you, I like Antonio Pierce, and their lazy Susan decided to settle on Antonio Pierce. I think it's the right choice. He's a 45-year-old young man who had the entire team elevated behind him, and that's why he was elevated from interim to head coach. Antonio Pierce, let's see if he's actually the right guy for the job. The locker room certainly believes that he is. I'm glad that Mark Davis has made that decision. Let's see what the Raiders look like under a head coach that the entire team doesn't despise the way that they did the last one. Speaking of despising the last head coach, did you see the Milwaukee Bucks dancing in a conga line pregame? They're very happy Doc Rivers got hired. Anyways, we're talking about the NFL coaching lazy Susan, and the Tennessee Titans spun their lazy Susan around, and no one expected Brian Callahan to be the guy, right? Brian Callahan, a little bit of a surprise there. Bengals offensive coordinator. The 39-year-old is the Tennessee Titans' new head coach. We got coaches getting hired, again, less under the age of 40. There are a lot of NFL head coaches now younger than I am. Jared Mayo, the youngest of the bunch. He is 37 years old. He was the man in waiting behind Belichick in New England. And, you know, Robert Kraft didn't even have to look outside of his own locker room to find him and identify him as the right guy to lead the Patriots going forward. The Panthers were a little bit of a surprising hire. 42-year-old Dave Canales, who's been Tampa Bay's offensive coordinator. He got the Carolina Panthers job. So obviously he's ready to put up with all of David Tepper's bullshit and is the right guy to do it at this point in time. That leaves 3 official openings. The Falcons, the Seahawks, and Commanders are all still looking for coaches. Peter Schrager reported on NFL Network that the Falcons have interviewed Bill Belichick and 13 other candidates. Like, I appreciate thorough. I can also identify you're bad at making a decision. You know, if you have interviewed 10 people for a head coaching job and you think, well, it's time for us to look at least another 2. I don't know about your list. Now, I also appreciate wanting to put together a list of young up-and-coming head coaches, even if you are going to hire Bill Belichick, because if you even do hire Bill Belichick, How long is Bill Belichick going to be your head coach? 4 or 5 years tops before he says, thanks, everybody. I got the NFL wins record. I mean, maybe with the Atlanta Falcons, he won't get that. Let's see. Can Bill Belichick overcome the Atlanta Falcons in anything other than a Super Bowl? That's a team that certainly takes a lot of talented people and is like, you're not going to win anything. So we'll find out. Seahawks still could be anybody's guest. Commanders still could be anybody's guest. Maybe they can ask the Falcons about all the people that they've interviewed. Maybe they got a tip or two. By the way, it feels like Kyle Shanahan's been doing this a really long time, right? Just wrapped up year 7. I mean, my God, how old's he got to be now? He's got to be getting closer to 50, right? Nope, not even in the neighborhood yet. Kyle Shanahan just turned 44 years old in December. So he's still a very young man. He's 4 years younger than me, goodness sakes. It's a young man's game. But 60-year-old Jim Harbaugh is back in the game. It doesn't look like Bill Belichick is going to get out of the game. So interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. And, you know, the 3 coaching vacancies, maybe they're waiting for the teams that are still alive to bow out. We have officially found something that I think can be identified as the worst contract in football this year based on what you got for the return of investment. If Brock Purdy officially represents the single greatest value in football, and this isn't about MVP, but this is about value. Brock Purdy inserted himself into an MVP conversation and is in his second straight NFC title game, and he's being paid a dollar amount that is so minuscule it doesn't even register in the team's cap number. So, Brock Purdy makes an awful lot of money compared to folks like you and me, but compared to starting quarterbacks, he's a beggar sleeping under a bridge in terms of compensation. So Brock Purdy, a guy who's got a team 60 minutes away for a Super Bowl, is being paid nickels and dimes in comparison to just look at it this way. Look at what Jared Goff makes, look at what Patrick Mahomes makes, and look at what Lamar makes. So the value is unbelievable. Worst value in all of football, we have to, and again, I used to really like Ambassador Von Miller. Von Miller's a hell of a football player. What kind of guy he is certainly to be discussed. He's opened himself up for who are you when no one's looking conversations since he was arrested this year. Not charged with, but arrested for assaulting his pregnant girlfriend. And all people are innocent until proven guilty. And again, he hasn't been charged, so I don't know if this goes forward officially or not. But beyond that, Von Miller was paid by the Buffalo Bills $14.9 million this season and finished with 0 sacks and 5 tackles in the 14 games that he played for the Buffalo Bills. That is $2,980,000 per tackle. $2,980,000 per tackle. You could get 3 Brock Purdys on your roster for every tackle that Von Miller made. You can afford 3 Brock Purdys in the cost of 1 Von Miller tackle. That's it, and still have money left over, by the way. You have money left over, about $400,000. So unbelievable. What a waste of money he was. And look, again, he says he's innocent, but I'm guessing the vast majority of you have never been accused of beating a pregnant woman by anyone. And by the way, keep it up. That's a really nice trend to follow. You want to be on that side of the conversation. How many pregnant women have accused you of hitting them? None. I want to talk about... All right, let's just quickly talk about the Warriors. and then we'll get into a couple of other things. Congratulations to the Golden State Warriors for feeling a little bit normal when that game ended and feeling happy about how it ended. They beat the Hawks last night. Really nice to see the game from Jonathan Kuminga that he played last night. He is getting more and more confident. You can see it. Trading Jonathan Kuminga would be absurd. You hold on to that guy. There is a real NBA player, and the best athlete on this team is Jonathan Kuminga, and he is coming into his own. Maybe it was the haircut. He got trimmed up, got cleaned up. Really good game out of Kuminga. Really good game from the Warriors. And I'm glad that they played well, to remember their fallen assistant coach whose family was in the building at Chase. And look, I don't know if there's any right way or wrong way to go about this, but they kept the camera on that poor woman way too long, and I don't think that was the right way to go. I mean, I don't know. How about this? If I were in charge of last night's game, we would have covered that pregame ceremony, but we wouldn't have tried to just over-cover it. I thought that it was a bit intrusive and uncomfortable, and that poor woman, it was sad. It was really, really sad. And then a basketball game happened. And hopefully this is a step in the Warriors feeling normal again and playing better basketball. And they'll get another chance at playing better basketball. They don't have to wait long. This evening, Sacramento Kings coming to Chase Center. So let's see what the Warriors and Kings do tonight. Kings are off to a much better start than the Warriors are. But whenever the Kings usually see Warriors jerseys, something goes wrong for Sacramento. We'll see. But it was nice to just see this team be able to make it about basketball after going through such a traumatic thing for everyone involved. And you can see that they're not hanging out and this was hard on us. You could tell that was hard on the team. Again, it's one thing to hear someone died. It's another thing entirely to be in the room with death. And they were. Sadly, In the Room with Death could be the name of a book written about modern media these days. It was a real tough week for media. And I know a lot of people think, well, I don't care. A lot of media is a bunch of liars and, you've bought whatever's been sold to you by a lot of people. And maybe some of what you think or you're suspicious of is right. You should be suspicious of things. Don't let anyone do your thinking for you. But the tool that is media is an incredibly valuable tool if we want to preserve democracy, if we want to hold those in power accountable. And it's usually the underpaid journalist doing the legwork to conduct the investigation that often turns into the big headline of somebody got caught doing something they shouldn't have been doing. And without journalists doing their job, well, how about this? If you wanted to offer corruption the best head start in the race, eliminate the media. Eliminate the media. That's why one party, by the way's entire mantra is media bad. But I don't want to get political. But it was a brutal week for the media, which means it's a bad week for everyone. And this goes far beyond just the layoffs at Sports Illustrated. The LA Times in the last week let over 100 people go. That's more than 20% of its newsroom. Pitchfork Media had rounds of layoffs. That's a whole bunch of music news. National Geographic had its cutbacks. Time Magazine laid off 15% of its staff. 8% of Business Insider was let go this morning. It ain't good. And the reason why it's not going to get better anytime soon is because all of these media companies are operated by a journalism second, profit first conglomerate that is only using media to push money through an equation. And they found out that money doesn't push through this equation quite like it used to. So in order to represent profit, We're just going to go ahead and fire parts of the equation that make too much money. And it's a snake eating its own tail. What is best for the reader? What is best for journalism? What is best for information? What is best for stories? Words will never be considered again. These massive corporations owning newsrooms in the name of profit, they find it much easier to gut within than to innovate, or God forbid, take a quarterly loss in the name of we'll figure this out somewhere down the road. It's very, very sad. And it's very dangerous as well for all of us that media is being squashed. Squashed to the point where, when I was a kid, if you said something out loud like, I want to be a journalist, like that was almost regarded as like, okay, that's like a teacher or a firefighter. Like there's a noble endeavor in that, and that's good. I'm telling you right now, if either Jack or Ozzy said to me, Dad, I want to be a journalist, I'd tell him that's great, but I don't want you to be because there's no future in it. And if there's no future in something that is very, very important, that's a bad thing to be selling the next generation of they aren't even going to be interested in being journalists. It's sad. And then when you look at, AI and it's just, I'm worried. And you should be as well. I'm worried and you should be as well. I want to welcome Wes Jameson, who in the last minute has signed up to become a member of the Initiated. Thank you very, very much, Wes. Appreciate you. Thank you for supporting our little slice of independent, lowercase j journalism over here. Again, memberships get you one-on-one videos with Bain. They'll put you in some videos with Sports Bain. But really, it is an avenue to support this channel. And I thank you very, very much for committing what is the cost of a large mocha to supporting what I'm building over here, what Jillian's helping me build, and supporting my family. Thank you very, very much. Now, if you don't want to become a member of the Initiated, maybe you just train in the dark, you were not born into it, that's cool too. Like and subscribe, that helps an awful lot. To like and subscribe, hit notify. Thank you so much for doing so. What a cool community we got. It really is something special. And all I can tell you is that I've gotten to know so many of you over here that I felt terrible yesterday when I saw at the very end of the show, as we had gone dark, that I had missed an awful lot of notifications that yesterday was Rockin' New Era 84's birthday. And as you know, for my OGs, we celebrate a birthday, and Rockin' New Era 84 is certainly one of them. So better a day late than not at all, which means here at 11:39 a.m. on Tuesday, January 25th, in the year of our Lord, 2024, no matter when you're watching me, it's still morning over here on the West Coast, but that's not going to prevent us from taking a birthday shot. Bottle pull for Rockin' New Era 84. Happy birthday, brother. I'm home alone today. I can drink. All right. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you so very much for supporting what we're doing. It means an awful lot. Tomorrow, Friday morning, wake up. Damon, Bruce, Larry Krueger. We're going to be at it at 8 a.m. going deep into 49ers and Lions. Sports Phone Friday happening at 11 a.m. West Coast time here on the Plus. So get up your courage right now. Tomorrow, I want to take more calls in our Sports Phone Friday than we ever have. Last week was good. I want this week to be even better. I will have the link for you to join me in the chat tomorrow. on Friday, and I hope to hear from you then. In the meantime, to everyone listening on the podcast, thank you so very much. And I just need to remind you that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he's gone. Like that, move it. All right. Welcome into Club Plus. Good to have you here. Don't forget to tip your waitress and your bartender. Hello, everyone. Otis Bird III. Hello, Otis. Always good to see you. Always good to see Big Mac in here. We got Michelle Haberman in here. We got Stacy Leo in here. We got Old Dirty Hungus in here. We got 49er Ultimate Report in here. Thank you very much. Damon, besides the Bruce sandwich, what is your favorite Ike's sandwich? I love the Jamie Sirewich. I love the Paul Rubens. Thank you for asking. I know that you will like them as well. I also really like, and it's Jillian's favorite, the Backstabber, which is like a chicken Caesar salad sandwich, essentially. It's really good. This is... advertisement shows just 49ers versus Ravens for the Super Bowl is already set in stone. I no, it's definitely not. If you think that you live in a world where if the NFL were rigging games, that they would send the Baltimore Ravens to the Super Bowl instead of sending Team Taylor Swift to the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. If the 49, look, the Lions are a great story, but if the NFL can rig a Super Bowl, it's going to be Chiefs, 49ers, let's do it again. With Taylor Swift in Las Vegas being cut to in between every single play. That's the way the NFL would do it if it were rigging things. So I don't want to hear about any rigged game until that happens. What else we got going on over here? Good to see so many names in the chat. True Blue Forever says, Damon, any updates on Papa Shasky? I do not have an update for you on Papa Shasky. I just hope he's doing very, very well. Dale, love me some Harbaugh. It's amazing how often NCAA sirens follow NCAA success and how people go scurrying away when they can. I think Jim Harbaugh knew I've done my job here and it's about to get harder. But Jim Harbaugh being back in the NFL, that's big and that's good. I mean, the Harbaugh era was a really good time. I know it didn't end the way, anyone wanted it to, but at the beginning there, oh, that was exciting. JJ Raider, sponsor of the Ganja Jar. JJ Raider says, sad news for us Raider fans that Harbaugh went to the Chargers. There's a story out of Chicago that he really might have wanted to coach Caleb Williams in Chicago, but the Bears decided to hold on to Eberflus. And if there's any truth to that, that might be how Soldier Field gets burnt down. Dale says Mayo's a mistake. Look, I don't think it's fair to cast judgment on anyone. The New England Patriots have always had a defensive mindset from their head coach with all the years under Belichick. Jared Mayo, I think, could be a very good coach. I have no idea. Let's find out together. And by the way, I'm a fan of Mayo. Not just the coach, but actual Mayo. I know that there's a big I don't like mayonnaise on my sandwich thing happening, or mayonnaise is white people food, or whatever that's supposed to mean. I don't even know what that means. I like Mayo. I'm a Mayo guy. And I mean, think about it. Mayo's at the center of so many delicious dips and yummy spreads. I don't know how you live without it. And when I say Mayo, I mean Mayo, not any Miracle Whip or that tangy thing. I don't like that at all. 420 Savage, he's saying, hey, John Harbaugh is the only one that matters right now. He embarrassed Shanahan on Christmas Day. I don't know if he embarrassed Shanahan on Christmas Day. I think any team signing up for a long day against the Baltimore Ravens when you turn the ball over 5 times. I don't know if that was Kyle Shanahan turning the ball over 5 times. So I don't know if that they were outplayed more than they were outcoached in that game. But there's no doubt. John Harbaugh is a guy to worry about. And you need to worry about that Harbaugh before you worry about any other Harbaugh at this particular time. Oh, good mood. Gizmo, by the way, he got an interview with the Falcons. Congratulations. While you were in Atlanta, I hope you stopped by the Varsity for some onion rings. Really good onion rings. I think Harbaugh is going to get an awful lot out of the Chargers. Awful lot. I mean, their problem was you had a coach who was ready to go for it on 4th and 19 from his own 10-yard line every single time. Like, they got a little too aggressive. Daniel Shabazz says, Purdy makes high-end doctor salary. Yeah, he's in that 800,000 club. I mean, that's good money. That's really good money. I can't wait to join that club myself one day. We're going to need at least a few more members and subscribers, though. So, like, subscribe, memberships available. What do we got? What do we got? Steve Peckatron. Steve Peckatron says, I will gladly make 5 tackles a year for $1 million. Bills. You couldn't make 5 tackles for $1 million at the NFL level. You'd be bouncing off dudes. I mean, that's the thing. There is no, like, if you think you're good enough to play or, hit a few buckets, you're like, I could do that in the NBA. No, you couldn't. You wouldn't even get a shot off. You wouldn't even reach the line of scrimmage in an NFL game. These guys are just monsters. Smiley Dan was happy with that Warriors game last night. He's like, they rolled them, played some inspired ball. Let's see if it carries. Again, I think after such a long layoff, it's good that the Warriors have games on back-to-back nights. I wonder if they're going to put Draymond Green back into the starting lineup, Draymond off the bench. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But Joe's right. Double zeros was hitting buckets last night. What, he finished perfect from the floor? He was awesome last night. Bird. You're right, Otis. Kuminga balled out. Guy's fantastic. And here's the thing. He's getting better. Chisel says, tragedy sells and sex sells. Chisel, I thought that pregame ceremony was trying a little bit too hard to sell some tragedy as entertainment. I don't think that would have been covered quite that way at the network level where you have really talented people making these decisions. But given the nature of local programming, I'm not surprised that I thought that they got it wrong. But again, I'm not the arbiter of good taste. I thought that it was a bit much. Corporal Tez. That was the first thing I thought. Why the hell are we broadcasting his wife breaking down? Who wants to see that? I was shocked that they did that. Again, it was incredibly dramatic and compelling, but I thought that the camera just stayed a little too long on the family. When you see that woman just in tears, I don't think that camera should linger as long as it did. Smiley Dan says, man, the media fighting with Luka last night, everyone calling him soft for having a fan ejected. All I can tell you is that some fans are so out of pocket and so out of line that they need to be thrown out of these games. They really do. Fan behavior is at a critical mass, and I think that they need to be dealt with swiftly and punitively and harshly, and there needs to be an adult in the room in so many worlds. Go to a restaurant. Just go to a restaurant and see some of the way these entitled fucking diners are treating the servers, the waiters and waitresses and their bartenders. It's like the pandemic, everyone forgot how to be a gentleman or a lady or how to act in public. It is ridiculous out there. I mean, I really do. I want to be the person who's allowed to slap people that are out of line. I'd love that. Damon, you are our preeminent nation slapper, and we need you to come on in and just slap somebody when they're talking like they shouldn't or acting like they shouldn't or disrespecting waiters and waitresses and waitstaff and bartenders. There's in no world are you going to be yelling at some dude, "You suck, you overpaid son of a bitch," if they were 6'8" and standing in the same alleyway with you. But it's like fans retreat to the, well, you're over there and I'm over here, and based on the fact that everyone's watching, I know you're not going to do anything, so I'm going to talk my shit to you. It's almost like the purchase of a seat in an NBA game provides the cover that the anonymity, I actually said it that time, that the anonymity of being a keyboard warrior behind an avatar without actually identifying yourself gives a lot of people online. Gross. The way people act is gross. I would offer him a choice. Be like, so here's the deal. You can either stay here and finish this game, but you have to meet Luka after it in person, or we're going to throw you out right now. You going to talk all this shit to Luka after the game? I bet you don't. People are such assholes. Well, everyone rocking a Happy New Era 84 little birthday. Again, it was yesterday. I saw it at the end. Saw it at the end, man. And I'm sorry that I missed it. But that's one of our OGs right there. Smiley Dan, toothpaste, coffee, and whiskey. It's the AM trifecta. Yeah, bacon, eggs, and whiskey. Birthday shots, you know what's going on. Again, Wes Jameson hanging out here in that newly initiated life that he is living. Club Plus is happening. This is chaos music. We got a little fire going on. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. I can't wait for Sunday. Oh, my God. I can't get here fast enough. Postman in Capitola, by the way. Oy, oy, oy! Dropping a little Taylor Swift news. Taylor Swift has a concert in Japan on Super Bowl weekend. Does that mean she's not going to be there? Commitments. How about this? I was invited to incredible seats for tonight's Warriors-Kings game, and I had to turn it down because I have prior commitments. Told a few radio shows that I'd tape some interviews with them. I'm appearing on a couple shows later tonight. Everyone, wants to do their Niners-Lions preview. I'm glad that I'm still on an awful lot of lists. Old habits die hard. What's this? A Canadian news channel ran a crawl that said Reba McEntire will be at the Super Bowl with the Niners and Ravens. Probably a fake. The NFL's rigged to get clicks, and No Filter Network is the main pusher. Again, not rigged. Poorly officiated? Don't confuse poor officiating with rigging. Damon Bruce, Six Nations in rugby. Will you watch it? Padraig O'Byrne. No. I've tried rugby. I've tried the 7-man rugby or whatever that is. I've seen. I'm not a big rugby guy. It just doesn't carry that level of entertainment for me. I'm sorry. I'm never. I respect rugby. You got to be tough as hell to play rugby. Jillian played rugby when she was in college. Again, I was like, I didn't even know you were a lesbian. But the rugby is great. I think it's one of those. It's a lot more fun to play than it is to watch. I'm going to put lacrosse in the same category. Lacrosse, a lot more fun to play than it really is to watch. Rob C. says, don't read this. And I'll be at Ike's in Vegas for lunch. Any bets I should take? Ooh. Well, thank you very much, Rob C. Note in the house. Good to see you. You're going to be in Ike's. You're going to be at the Ike's in Vegas for lunch today? I mean, pick up a Damon Bruce, start rolling on the side of luck, and then any bets you should take? I always like to walk into a casino and do a little heat check. Take a 20, a 50, 100. I mean, Rob C. Note for you. Feels like 100 is kind of your neighborhood that you hang out in. And just put it on red or bet on black. Go over to that roulette wheel. See if you just can't just walk into the casino, first action, double that money, honey. It's the only real messing around with a C Note that I get. Look at, he's back. Rob C. Note's back. Stacy Leo's excited. Mike and Sam Bruno's excited. True Blue Forever's excited. Imagine how I feel. Rob C. with the moolah. Boom. Again, thank you very, very much. I really appreciate an unbelievable level of support that you have offered. It's been fantastic. And again, you don't need to drop cash to support a like, a subscribe, hit notify. There you go. Rick Mighty Bone Feliciano, Damon, aren't you part of the reason that traditional media is dying? The public wants to consume media differently, such as the Plus. So look at it this way. I was traditional media. They pushed me over here. Like they gave me no choice but to compete against them. And they're going to realize that that's part of the problem. But what is really killing traditional media more than anything, more than any level of incompetence or a whole bunch of unqualifieds or untalenteds being in the room, and there are many, what is killing traditional media more than anything else is advertising. And if you've got advertising dollars to spend your advertising dollars on, let's call it blanket media, like radio, blankets a territory. Newspapers blanket a territory. So if you are buying an ad in blanket media, you are blanketing everyone in that territory with your ad. And if that's the way you're going about advertising these days, you are dumb enough to deserve to be fired. Advertising is about targeting. Advertising is about specifically advertising what you're advertising directly to an audience member or a consumer who is interested in what you're advertising. Again, I use the example. Let's say you're a company selling breast pumps. Why would you buy advertising on the radio? Because you got half that audience is men. You know who's not buying breast pumps? Men. So men, half the audience you're reaching ain't even buying what you're selling. So you've wasted half your money right there. Now let's suppose any woman who is done having children, she's a little bit later on, further down the road in life, women 45 and over really aren't in that breast pump market. And hopefully, young teenagers and below aren't in the breast pump market either. What you're really looking to do is target women in their early 20s who are expecting mothers, who just got married, who are at their computer Googling things like cribs and formula for babies. And that's where the cookies come in and tell you exactly who she is, where she is, how old she is, how soon she's expecting, when she's going to need that breast pump. And that's who you want to send your "we're selling breast pumps" advertisement to. Broadcasting and narrowing down advertisers are at diametric opposite. They're opposed to each other. What's one thing everybody needs? I don't know. Ketchup. Like, anyone could use ketchup, right? We're all interested in, we're out of ketchup. Everyone needs ketchup. So if ketchup's going to advertise, that's good. You can blanket you can blanket everyone with ketchup. We all need a bottle of ketchup. But breast pumps? We don't all need breast pumps. We don't all need jock straps. Let's say you want to go ahead and you want to advertise your brand new, this is how you're going to lose weight. You want to advertise that to fat people. So the ability to target an audience that is interested in what you're selling is now available, which means the old way to do it is the dumb way to do it. And only an idiot would do it that way. And everyone in charge of running advertising campaigns has basically told their clients, don't advertise in radio the same you wouldn't want to advertise in a newspaper. The audience isn't guaranteed, and the person you're trying to reach may or may not be listening. So that's the real. There's a level of incompetence, greed, and stupidity that's killing everything. But there's also a huge different way of going about doing business these days. Rob C. is going to the AVN convention. I swear I saw Ike in line yesterday. So what they just did, isn't it like the CES Consumer Electronics Show on one floor and then it's all the porn stuff? Have fun up in Pornville. And I would not be surprised to see Ike wondering how many sandwiches he can sell in Pornville. Again, Patrick, Damon. Six Nations is going to be on in February. Are you going to watch it on TV? Maybe. I don't know. Depends on what else is on. There's a really good episode of Seinfeld. I'm probably watching that. By the way, 49er Ultimate Report says, no doubt, man. Damon speaking facts. There's no respect towards people who make food for us. My father worked at Pizza Hut for 20 years and people would yell at him. The hardest job I have ever had has been in the service industry. Without a doubt. Hardest job I've ever had. San Bruno Mike coming in with a 5 spot today. Just because John Fisher sat in front of us in the Vegas Chamber of Commerce, again, with no actual stadium renderings and a bunch of pathetic excuses. Yeah, how's that going? I tell you right now that the A's are closer to moving to Sacramento than they are Las Vegas. Yeah, look, it's a big difference between yelling at a fan, or it's a big difference between yelling at a game and being funny and like verbally assaulting someone. There's a big difference there. Reba's Illuminati? Reba McEntire's Illuminati? Uh-oh. Michael Chan, Damon, what about cricket? I don't watch much cricket. I'm taking a step further. I really don't watch any cricket. I'm not opposed to it. See, if you're into it, that's awesome. Lacrosse does have sticks, and it's so fun to get your revenge. I used to just be center crease defense, 6-foot stick. And while every putz out there was looking to pick up a ground ball, I'm just gonna hit dudes. I'm not even interested in the ball. I'm just gonna deplete dudes. That's all I did. That's how I got my yayas out. Usher at halftime. You know, here's the thing. I'll say this about Usher at halftime. He'll be good. That guy can entertain. He's got very recognizable hits. I think Usher's going to be a fine halftime. Now, I don't know what Usher has to do with Las Vegas other than herpes jokes, right? We've all heard that, right? We've all heard that rumor. I think it should be a band from Vegas. It should be the Killers. The Killers are the preeminent band from Las Vegas. They should have gotten the halftime show. The same way Metallica should have gotten the Bay Area's halftime show. Wouldn't it be great if the Super Bowl that comes back to Levi Stadium, that should be Metallica's Super Bowl? SM. D. Bruce and Plusers, keep me in your thoughts. I got hit with El Stroco Loco. Day 11, with a hope of going home this weekend. All right, so this is serious. SM, I want you to reach out to me. Email me, get in touch with me on Twitter, find me on Instagram. Let's talk. You give me your phone number, I will give you a call, and we will talk about what you need to do to get over this stroke. How severe was it? Occupational and physical therapy is something I want you to do more of than they even ask you to do. I hope you get all your returns, but that's some serious news, SM. So please reach out to me, and let's talk. Reach out to me, and let's talk. And feel better. Oh my gosh. It's scary stuff, man. What is AVN, Dale? It is the Adult Video News. Is that it? It's the publication that puts on the big porn convention, I think. Reach out to me, SM. Reach out to me. Prayers up for a speedy recovery. Indeed. Indeed. Dale says, come on, dude, it was a joke. Hey, dude, there's no font that says this is a joke. I don't have time to, Dale, I love you. But I don't know you. You could be, you could be an altar boy right now at Mass sending me texts. What's AVN? I don't know. But of course, you're in my audience, which means you're a full-on functioning degenerate, and it's great to have you here. Thanks to all of you, my little group of degenerates. Thank you so much to anyone who became a member today. Thank you to anyone who made a super chat today. Again, Rob C-Note in the house today. I appreciate all of you very, very much. And SM, seriously, reach out. Prayers up for you, brother. Feel better. Feel better. That is a scary, scary, scary thing to go through, and I know all about it. You did 11 days in the hospital. I was in there for 22 days. 22 days in the hospital trying to move that left side again. And look at me now. Here's the thing. Right snap. Still good. Nothing wrong. Still got it. Left snap. And this is a lot better than it used to be. My physical therapy is I try to snap with my left hand every day. Can I get it better? Can I make it better? It's not bad, but it's not. I mean, that could be on a Phil Collins song, right? Oh, you can't hurry, love. Oh, you'll just have to wait. I know that's Supremes, but you know what I'm saying. Thank you very much. I feel like I've already said enough. It was awesome having you here today. You're an incredible group. I'm honored to have you all in the audience. Wake up with Damon and Larry, 8 a.m. Friday. Sports Phone, 11 a.m. West Coast Friday. I will hopefully see you all then. In the meantime, the only thing I got to let you know is you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. SM, reach out to me. Instagram, Twitter, DM me. We'll talk. Take care.